Welcome back to JoyNews. There's an online swindler on the loose in Accra defrauding people who want to rent apartments. A scammer who operates with other people brazenly takes unsuspecting victims to an apartment, hands over a key to non-existent buildings to them, and then takes advantage and takes advance payment from them. One of the victims in the early 30s was defrauded 30,000 Ghana cedis. Another man, Bright Ewusi, was duped of more than 10,000 cedis. Maxwell Agbagba followed up on this and spoke with Bright Ewusi.
The pictures of the...
I am in a car with one of the victims, Bright Ewusi. We are heading to Tantra Hills to see the apartment the online fraudsters used to scam him. The swindlers had taken pictures of the building and uploaded them on an online platform. This is the Tantra Hills community where Bright Ewusi was brought by the fraudsters. They took him to an apartment nearby, a very beautiful duplex nearby, where they handed him keys. Bright Ewusi tells me that even before he started the search online, his wife had a hunch that they could be scammed.
So I met him at Kodesh, around Kodesh area, because he said the landlord stays at North Carnation. So I picked him up around Kodesh and then we drove to the landlord's house. We went to an area just like this. I mean, the houses are facing each other. And then just when we were about to get there, the landlord came out, I mean, in a haste, going somewhere, in a hurry, going somewhere. He comes across like a man of God who was going to preach. And he said, oh, he's been waiting for us for a very long time. We kept delaying him. He's in a hurry to go somewhere. So quickly I said, oh, we are here, so let's go inside. And he said, oh, quickly. We should just sit in the car and then, I mean, sort everything out. He started asking me questions, why I go to church, where I work and all that. Very nice and calm man. So even when my wife saw him, he said, oh, he doubts this will be a scammer. Because we were having that perception. So we gave the money to him, 15,600. He gave me a receipt. He asked me to sign and gave some 2 keys to my wife and said that, oh, she is the woman, so she should take the keys. He told me that the tenancy agreement will be ready, that's a Tuesday morning, so I should come to the house Tuesday morning to come and pick it up. It was a movie house.
It was a movie house?
Yes. I find out the house was a movie house. That was a Thursday morning after I tried reaching him and I couldn't reach out to him anymore. So I got there only to find out that the place was a movie house. No, the apartment don't belong to them. They are not the owners of the apartment. The apartment is not for them. I'm told the owner of the apartment. No.
This apartment?
Yes, they gave me 2 keys to this apartment after I made a payment of 15,600.
Bright Ewusi is now on the phone speaking to another victim, 33-year-old event planner Ida Safoa. She saw Bright's story online and contacted him about how the same man defrauded her of close to 30,000 cedis after she tried to rent an apartment she saw online.
Landlord came out, was like, I'm in a hurry. I've been called to come to Tema for a surgery. You've kept long, so let's sit in my car and then run everything up so that I can go. I was like, okay, fine. And the way this man talks, he's like an angel. So my mom was like, hey, wait there, when you're fiera, papa, papa. So we sat in his car and there I gave him 20.
I'm saying that your landlord is, it's a good man.
Exactly, because of how he portrayed. So we were in the car and then I gave him a physical cash of 20,000. And then he was like, so when is he going to get the rest? And I was like, okay, I need a fence around the house. So if he's able to fix it for me, then I can make the final payment and then move in. And he was like, oh, it's not a problem. So I should go. And then he gave me a receipt for the 20,000 that I paid. And then he made me sign. He signed and then my mother signed as a witness. No, when he called me, he made the wife also called. I was like, okay, so there's a woman involved. I'm not sure these people, they are fake or something. And then this woman called and was like, Pacho, me was Pentex, so me kunu ne do number ma me say me frail. na me was shop on my metonia man into say hawa and can send the balance na me fan toto. And I was like, okay. Into number ben so na me sending. And then they gave me a different number. Close to 30,000.
9,000.
Security man Imano Dankwa had saved and borrowed money from friends to rent. He was also swindled by the same man who defrauded Bright Usi and Ida Safwa.
Yes, it's not easy for me, Prao. I borrowed some money, and one of mine, my daughter, to send me money, and I borrowed some of the money, and I used to pay this money for the landlord.
I can hear you.
But online,
okay, can you hear me now?
Bright Usi tells me many others have contacted him that they have been swindled in the past by the same scammer using the same method. For now, he's on the loose, ready to pounce on his next victim.
Let's get on to Zoom and speak with team lead of the Computer Emergency Response Team of the National Cybersecurity Authority, Stephen Seshi. Steve, I'm grateful for your time. Now, many a times, people who own online businesses complain about how scammers continue to make the platform unattractive to potential clients. I mean, what can we do to save this situation?
All right, thank you so much, and good morning to you and your listeners. Online business essentially thrives on a level of trust, I should say, and it's unfortunate we are hearing what you are hearing. And what can we do about it is really around our awareness of the existence of such schemes and then taking some precautions. So the Cybersecurity Authority, we do receive these kind of complaints. We have a point of contact where you can call us on 292 or send us a WhatsApp on 050-160-5111 to report if you suffer such an occurrence. Some of the things you can do is really around due diligence. So listening to our unfortunate victims, it appears they committed to the transaction without some additional checks. So what I'll touch on is a few other things, or a few things we can do as prospective users of such online services to ensure that we do not fall victim to such scammers. So first one, I would say, is in the kind of scenario you're talking about in terms of rent or renting an apartment. One thing you can do is, after they've taken you around a supposed facility, you can go back on your own at a later time and check with the neighborhood, check with the people that live there, find out who actually owns the apartment you're interested in renting. And that will also assure you whether you are dealing with people who are just about to take your money or they actually do own the place. Another thing you can do, because this particular scammer, for instance, has done it to so many people, but nobody knows how he looks like. One thing we can recommend is when you are dealing with agents like this, try and get a view of the ID. They should give you, you can take a photo of the ID, take a photo of the person, the landlord as well, so that if something comes up, at least you have some proof of identity that you can use to start an investigation. The sums of money involved are quite significant, and it means we need to be able to pay through a channel which is trackable. Don't just hand over cash or do a mobile transaction and that's it. What we'd recommend is to be able to go through a bank, and once you're at the bank, then you have the chance to actually validate who owns that bank account. If it doesn't match with who the person or the name they've given you, then you already have a red flag that you can use to then take caution. Depending on what kind of apartment you're looking at, it might also make sense to just deal with a lawyer. Lawyers offer that service where they can look into the ownership of properties, they can look into who owns a specific house or whatever. So deal with a lawyer for some small fee. They can do the digging for you and then advise whether you should proceed or not. So these are some of the things we can take, the precautions we can take. It's really about due diligence. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, people will exploit what we don't check. So due diligence is what we'd advise.
Well, so what are some of the red flags we should be looking out for?
So one classic one would be if you deal with, if you go, let's say, to the bank and they've given you a bank account to pay into, you can check when was this account created in the first place, what name is behind that bank account. And typically in one report we've had here, the account was created just a few days before the prospective client was contacted. That alone also tells you that something is up. If the person is really an established agent or landlord, why is the account just set up for you to pay into? So you may want to look a bit more closely into something like that. If you go into the area, you can also survey the kind of rent they are paying in the area. So you go to, let's say, your Tantra Hills. Let's, for example, say the average rent there is around 1,000 cedis a month, but you are being offered 300 or 400. That's a red flag. It means something is off. Why is yours so low? They just want you to pay your 2 or 3 year advance. They take your money and that's it. So that's another flag you can watch out for.
Stephen says, I'm grateful for your time this morning. He's lead of the Computer Emergency Response Team at the Cybersecurity Authority. And now let's get on to other stories. And women in the Boko West district of the Upper East region are determined to restore their degraded lands and grow more trees to promote a more resilient climate. Through the Regreening Africa project, the women have learned and are applying more eco-friendly farming methods, which are also improving their livelihoods. Here's a report by Albert Story.
Over the years, severe and prolonged dry seasons, overgrazing, rampant bushfires, and the indiscriminate felling of trees have translated into an increased decline in forest cover, loss of indigenous biodiversity, and decreased soil fertility in many parts of Ghana. It is even more precarious in the northern parts of Ghana, where the climate is harsher due to fewer tree populations. The poor peasant farmers here are having to bear the brunt of the unfavorable climate and weather and its effects of poor yields. Women in the Boko West district are determined to combat desertification so they can also enjoy a friendlier climate in their communities. This is the Galaka community near Zebila, where the Regreening Africa project supported the community to fence a 3-hectare land for a plantation. Mango and mahogany seedlings have been transplanted here to help reverse land degradation. The community plays the role of ensuring the survival of the trees, so the women here decided that rather than always just keeping watch over the trees, they would rather grow vegetables on the same land. This will help them get money to support their families even as they nurse the trees here.
They have been here for ages without anything meaningful doing. Apart from the rainy season farming, we do small. But with the help of World Vision, we've been able to raise onions. That is what we use to sell to pay our children's school fees. We use it for our domestic purpose. That is where we sell to buy ingredients from the market and use it for other home activities.
The Regreening Africa project seeks to promote simple land restoration practices to help improve livelihoods, food security, and resilience to climate change for smallholder farmers in the Garo Timpani and Boko West districts of the Upper East region and the Mion district of the Northern region. It is a European-funded project being implemented in African countries. Joshua Adumbiri is a World Vision Project Officer on the Regreening Africa project.
In this community, we have 40 women. We have 20 of them who are supporting in the protection and then grooming of the trees. And we also have 20 women who are also assisting to fight bushfires in the event of any fire emanating from any angle. But if there were to be enough water here, you would have had the whole place being flooded with these gardens of vegetables, as well as the trees we have planted. To have wished that we are able to get borehole drills here and solar mechanized with water storage tanks where we can pump the water and use for the irrigation purposes here.
For JoyNews, Albert Sori, Galaka, Boko West District.
Let's do some politics, because information technology experts and daughter of former IGP Jennifer Namfuri says she's not hoping to win the Jirapa NDC parliamentary primaries through sympathy votes, but rather based on her own track record of performance for the party. Jennifer Namfuri is the only woman among 30 aspirants that have filed to contest the NDC primaries in the Upper West region. She is to pitch her strength against two other aspirants, including incumbent MP Cletus Seidu. JoyNews' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
Cletus Seidu Dapala came into the venue of the veteran, bumped into and accompanied by mayors of polling station and constituency executives and supporters who he claimed not aware of. They were there because of love and the numerous projects he has executed in their various constituencies.
My people believe so much in me, and they think that I shouldn't come here alone. That is why you see them. They voluntarily came from Jirapa to support me. I arrived from Accra last night, so I didn't even step foot in Jirapa. In fact, I was trying to hide, just to sneak in and do my vetting and move away. Little did I know that they were also mobilizing their numbers to come and support me. So that's why they are here.
He recounted, in brief, some projects undertaken in his 2-year stint in Parliament.
I give some support to students, brilliant but needy students, to pay their fees. And I think I did over 300 of them. I've been able to support over 300 of them. The minimum amount I've given to any student is 1,000 cedis. Some 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, depending on the amount that the student is supposed to pay. So that's one of the areas that I do so much in. In terms of health, I've been able to do a clinic at Bazoo, support motorbikes for the district health administration and all of that. Even still in education, I supported with textbooks. I donated over 6,000 textbooks to primary and junior high schools, furniture and all of that. So I'm doing a lot. And in terms of social intervention, my people can testify that I have been in touch with them. I've been supporting.
Cletus Seidu Dapala came into the political limelight when he became the Jiriba Constituency Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, and later District Chief Executive for then Jiriba District. He is of the firm belief that the delegates of the party will vote on May 13 to retain him as the party's parliamentary candidate in the constituency.
Honestly, I've been in this game for some time. You know me very well, and you know that I've started my politics from far. I've been secretary, constituency secretary, I've been district chief executive. God willing, I'm the member of parliament. I shouldn't be afraid of a contest. I have always cherished a contest. It is the only way that we can entrench our democracy.
Standing in between that second-term victory in the parliamentary primary is the daughter of former Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service and late Paramount Chief of the Jiriba Traditional Area, Peter Tegenaban Namfuri. Jennifer Tegenaban Namfuri identifies some loopholes in the party.
I know that the roles that women play in politics is very vital. You take your mother, for instance, for example, there's nothing that your mother can get done for you. Women are more soft-hearted, they listen, and they pay attention and make sure that needs are met to their people. So therefore, I have decided to get into this race for Jirapa constituency. There are a lot of loops, holes happening there. And I think that me being part of this race will bring some changes.
Jennifer Namfuri is the only female among the 30 aspirants that has filed to contest for the parliamentary primaries in the Upper West region. The information technology expert says she's not in the race for sympathy votes because of her late father, but has on her own worked for the party and deserved a resounding victory.
When you talk about NDC in Upper West, you cannot talk about NDC without mentioning my late father's name. Okay, you take Upper West, you take Jirapa specifically. He has played various roles. So I have played roles in the party. So it's not because of sympathy. I started doing this 2 years ago. I started playing, coming home, talking to delegates, talking to the people to understand what their needs are. So it's not that I just woke up, immediately my father died, I said I'm jumping into the race. No, this is a long-term thing that I started before this happened.
The third name that will be on the ballot paper on May 13th will be Bright Salia, who is contesting for the first time in the parliamentary primary. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Let's go to Goso, where the MP for Sunafo South in the Hafo region, Eric Opoku, says the NDC remains the only party capable of rescuing Ghana from the current challenges the NPP has plunged the country into. Addressing tertiary educational institutions network members of Gwaso Nursing and Midwifery Training College, Mr. Opoku reminded the students of their importance in the rescue mission.
Engagement at the Gwaso Nursing and Midwifery Training College in the Hafo region to officially welcome first-year tertiary educational institutions network team members also had in attendance some national, regional and constituency executives of the NDC. Speakers including the regional youth organizer Suleimana Masahudu took turns explaining to the excited students why the NDC is the only party capable of rescuing Ghana from the current difficulties.
2024 election it's not just an election to put somebody as MP or to send somebody there as a president. It is an election about your destiny. I believe strongly that you will join us on this side to kill this elephant, and have one assurance for you. If you are able to kill this elephant in sharing the meat, each and every one of you will have a fair share.
The MP for Sunafo South, Eric Opoku, emphasized the need for the students to play their part in the NDC's rescue mission to bring comfort to them and Ghanaians.
The NPP, in spite of their abysmal performance, is bent upon breaking it. And the NDC is saying that no, from what we have seen with the NPP's governance, this is the time to change the government. I want to see your readiness as students, as members of TAIN on this campus. You must demonstrate your readiness to contribute towards the recapturing of power. We want to imbue in you the relevant information and values, so that when you go back home, you don't only go and, dine with them. You get them the information as part of the measures to enable NDC win the elections.
Touching on health, he assured of the NDC's commitment to the timely release of funds to the National Health Insurance Scheme for the effective and prompt delivery of health care.
For health insurance is being taken as an indirect tax, and it's a consumption tax. So long as you consume, you pay. That money, when collected, goes to consolidated fund and it's being controlled by the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance does not release the resources to the scheme, and that is why the scheme is unable to perform as expected. NDC commits to the fact that health is a priority, and so long as Ghanaians have contributed to the scheme, they should be made to feel that they have paid for health care. And so we will make prompt releases to the scheme, supervise the effective utilization of the resources, so that at the end of the day, Ghanaians will be the beneficiaries.
The team members accepted the challenge with a promise to work for the NDC's victory in the 2024 general elections. Precious Semevo, JoyNews, Goso.
That's live on JoyNews. Let's take a break. When we return, there's more coming your way. Welcome back to JoyNews. Next to the rest of our stories, and several big companies, including the senior Clubhouse of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Valco Residences and Commissary have fallen victim to the ongoing disconnection exercise by the Ghana Water Company Limited. The state water supply entity is seeking to collect about 680 million cedis in debt owed it by its customers. Gapoa Senior Clubhouse alone owed 15,849.92, while the Valco Residences owed 4,181.90 Ghana cedis, and Valco Commissary owed 3,116.67. Water supply to these facilities, amongst several others in Tema, were disconnected on Tuesday, April 2023. The disconnection team is currently in Tema, continuing with the exercise. My colleague Jacqueline Yeboah is with the team. She's joined us with more. Jackie, where's the team now and what can you report from where you are?
Okay, hello Aisha. So currently the team is at Printex, but they've already visited 2 companies so far, and the Ghana Water Company intends to retrieve about 4.7 million Ghana cedis for today in the Nungwa district. Now, so far, the first company that they went to was the Waka Building Systems, but they were pardoned and they agreed to pay tomorrow. And the next company was a beverage factory known as U-Fresh Company Limited, and they've also been disconnected for a non-payment of bills worth 163,000 Ghana cedis.
Well, so where next is the team headed?
So currently we are still at Printex, but from there we are moving to Azar Chemical Industrial Area.
All right. So Jacqueline is with JoyNews. She's been following the team. How are the people responding? Are they willing to pay the amounts owed the water company?
So with regards to the U-Fresh company, they initially said that the amounts that was stated by the Ghana Water Company is not the said amount that was given to them. So they actually disagreed with them, but others are in cooperation with them and they are willing to pay.
All right, Jacqueline Anseba is with Yeboah is with JoyNews. We'll be bringing you more from this exercise. Let's get on to other stories, and there is. All right, let's take a break on JoyNews Dex. We'll return with more. Welcome back. We'll take you live to the International Press Center, where Kodeo is currently holding a news conference on election 2024.
The appearance of partisan neutrality are paramount and must be safeguarded. It is against this background that we have, over the years, consistently advocated for a transparent and inclusive process for appointing persons to fill vacancies on the EC. The appointment to the EC of individuals known as widely perceived to be partisan or party-based can only go to deepen public mistrust in the EC. We believe strongly that the resignations of Dr. Peter Piahini and Salima Ahmed Tijani are a necessary step in the efforts to rebuild trust and confidence in the EC, thereby guarantee the peace of our elections and the effectiveness of the Commission in the discharge of its extremely important national mandate. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Long live Ghana. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Reverend Dr. Fred Degbe, for the statement. I know it's a long statement, but I think it's important, given the gravity of the matters, to be clear in the position of CODEO, CFI, and Star Ghana. Let me take the opportunity to acknowledge Major General retired Coleman, who is chairman of the Civic Forum Initiative with the Secretariat at IDEC, who just joined us. So, Major, you're welcome. Before I open up for questions and comments to the high table, let me just make some additional notes on the trust ratings for the EC, so that that's also factored in. So normally in the Afrobarometer surveys, there's a list of institutions that respondents are asked to rate their trust in those institutions, and the EC is one of them. And you have to indicate whether you trust the institution a lot, you trust it somewhat, you don't trust it at all, and so on. So this ratings that you see is on people who are showing a strong preference, a strong trust for the EC. That is, that they trust the EC a lot. And you can see that beginning from in 2004, when you had 48%, which is a very strong positive endorsement of the EC. Since then, those who are saying they trust the EC a lot has reduced all the way to 10%. So that is just an additional note that we need to point out. With that in mind, let me just open the floor for any questions from media or stakeholders who are here. Yes, sir. And please identify yourself and then your question. Sorry, I didn't. Is there a mic that... oh, there's no mic, so you... Obed, yes. Yes, Obed.
So, part of the statement suggested that the representation of the election management body should include members of some political parties.
No, that's not correct. So maybe, that's why I said it's a long statement. So the idea is that the model that Ghana has chosen does not allow for partisans to be represented on the Electoral Commission. In places like Liberia and other countries where you have members, a representation of, it's like an IPAC that runs like an Electoral Commission, yes. So ours is supposed to be independent. Yeah. That's right, yes. Yeah. Yes, madam, please, and identify yourself and then your question.
My name is Nani Tete, I work with Star.
That's right.
In the statement, it was said that you know that a revocation is highly unlikely, and you are urging the two to resign. It's
Sure.
an honorable thing.
Sure.
I could also say that is highly unlikely.
Sure.
So, what do you think can be done in terms of checks and balances, so that despite the seeming affiliation of these people to the governing party, it doesn't affect the outcome of the elections?
Okay. So that is a matter that we have discussed and will discuss further. I think what the CODEO board and CODEO and CFI and other collaborators are saying is that we want, the principles and the spirit of the Constitution to respect it, and that's for every Ghanaian. So the individuals who have been appointed themselves also have an obligation to support, the sustenance of this democracy. So I think the first call is on them, and the reason why a revocation is not even feasible in the current context is because the appointment has already been done. If it was for the chairperson or any of the deputies, you have to go through an elaborate, process to remove her. For the non-executive members, they basically are covered by the Public Services Commission processes until they retire. So that's why revocation is not one that, And of course, given all the issues we have said about the trust of the Electoral Commission and the independence, we also don't want the executive interfering in that way to be removing members of the commission. So the best first option for us is the individuals recognizing their obligations and doing the right thing. I think if that is not, then there are other options that Kodeo and CFI and Star Ghana and other stakeholders have to consider. That is something that the board and the association would look at. But the point is that the current state of affairs is not tenable, and we need to find a way to resolve it. There's a gentleman, you had your hands up, or was it the same question? Okay, so that's been addressed. Okay. Yes.
Yes, so, I mean, my name is Sarah.
Sarah. Yes.
From TV3.
Yes, Sarah.
Just a follow-up to her question.
Yes.
I believe Kodeo and your partners have already sort of the possibilities if they do not resign, and available options you will be adopting to ensure the right thing is done.
Sure.
But before we get to that stage, if they do not, and we do not find any way of getting them out, and the trust in the EC keeps declining, like you said, what would be the repercussions on upcoming elections in the country?
So I think we have to crawl before we walk. So I think the first step is, of course, to indicate our disapproval of the current state of affairs and ask for corrective measures to be taken. I think that the individuals themselves should be given that opportunity. And then, we see what actions they take. But certainly, we are going into an election, and we don't want this subsisting. So there would have to be other steps taken, to bring this matter. I don't know if you've been following what's happening in Kenya. But in the post-election, given all the challenges that was experienced, even though the president has power to appoint new electoral commissioners, he has asked the parliamentary committee to set up a bipartisan group so that there can be a bipartisan arrangement on who to appoint to the Electoral Commission. So these matters are not just matters that only are restricted to Ghana. The dangers for all of us is palpable, right? So I think that everybody that is concerned about Ghana's democracy, and this is 30 years of the Fourth Republic. So we all have to have learned the lessons, not just from Ghana, from 92, but also in the sub-region.
We take a break on JoyNews Desk. When we return, we'll bring you business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Now, the Trades Union Congress, TUC, says it will stop at nothing to ensure that dismissed local union leaders of power company Sunon Asogli are reinstated. The Trades Union Congress says it will embark on a series of demonstrations to insist that the managers of the company reinstate the workers. They had given an ultimatum of the 3rd of April. Now that has passed. Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, has been speaking to the media.
Following our press conference, which was held on the 27th of March, as you rightly said, in actually challenging the abuse of workers' rights by management of Sunon Asogli Power Plant, we gave management an ultimatum of 7 days. That is, which ended last Monday, 3rd of April, to reinstate the 3 dismissed union executives who are workers of the company, and also stop all the abusive activities that is going on in the company. So we hoped that by Monday we'll have heard something positive from the management. But as I speak to you now, we have not heard anything positive from management. Even though when the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations received a copy of our press statement, which we actually officially copied him, he has actually initiated some interventions. But, comrade, I think that much as we respect the intervention, we think that as organized union, we think that you should actually review our internal mechanism. And that is what we are currently doing, because management has not respected our period of caution. Our boys are still home and they are still doing what is not good, what is actually trampling and abusing the rights of workers at the company. Ghana is being governed by law, and we don't want to do anything that will go contrary to the laws of this very country. So we are reviewing our internal mechanism, which includes serving notices to the appropriate agencies, including the Public Order Act, and for our possible actions, which includes picketing, and if we don't still have an answer to our demand, it will be escalated into a possible strike action.
Now, some insurance sector players are calling for more collaboration to expand coverage of insurance here in the country. Now, Chief Sales Officer for Electoral, John Smart, says more effort needs to go into sensitization to ensure there is a streamline of activities in the insurance industry. He spoke to Joy Business as his outfit demonstrated commitment to claims payment with 15,000 payout to the family of the late military officer, Sheriff Imoro.
At the presentation of the claims payment for the late Sheriff Imoro, John Smart explained that in an attempt to increase insurance penetration in Ghana, there is the need for conscious efforts to send insurance the last mile beyond the 18th mile from the commercial towns, district capitals, and regional capitals.
Our insurance penetration is low in the country because of a lot of factors of understanding what insurance really means. And I will say here that the press has a lot of role to play, because it is for you to educate the public on what insurance is, what it takes to have an insurance policy, what are the challenges or not challenges, what do they need when there is a claim. Every insurance is very different. If you look at other aspects of insurance, which is motor and life insurance, they are two different things. For life insurance, so far as you pay your premium, when something happens, you don't need any other person to come with you to get your claim. So it makes it very simple. But when we only talk about insurance of vehicles and other things that delays, that is where the fear is. So I think it is also very important for the media to jump into this space and educate the public on what type of insurance are there and how do you get your claims. Is it difficult? It's not difficult. As a claim, you don't need any third party to help you with this claim. When this issue came up, nobody contacted us. We know that he has a policy with us. We know that a policy has a death benefit. So we followed up with him. It goes with all other insurance policies.
Mr. Smart said Glyco Life is committed to its statutory and civic duties. He maintained that the company is alive to its social responsibility and supports the health, education, socio-economic, and sports sectors, among other areas of the economy.
And that's Business News Desk returns after this break.
And as I wrap up the bulletin this morning, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.